Today we're talking to Christopher Atkins, who was nominated for a Golden Globe for his role in The Blue Lagoon, which launched his career. Welcome, Chris. So glad you're here at Lifestyle Magazine.
Yes, I'm excited. Yeah, thank you.
Now, you're known big time, like I said, 1980, The Blue Lagoon, you and Brooke Shields. Did you always want to be an actor? Because that was some time ago. Is that what you set out to do?
No, being an actor was the furthest thing in my life at that period of time.
Really?
I was in high school. I always wanted to play pro baseball. That was my dream. I worked really hard at being a pro athlete and wanting to be a pro ball player. That was it. And then I had all these knee operations in high school. It took me right out of it. And I ended up teaching sailing to little kids, and one of the mothers of one of the little kids took pictures of me, sent me into a modeling agency, and from that it went into Ford models, and then from Ford models ended up auditioning for this movie, which I thought was really cool because then I could tell all my buddies, hey, I auditioned for this movie, so when it comes out, I could say, hey, I read those lines. I never thought in a million years I would actually get cast for that picture.
It's as if you're just the accidental actor stumbling in, and so many people have to work so hard with getting the agency to get them in for auditions,
Yeah,
and
I was one of
happened.
4,000 kids who auditioned for that movie. I found out later, yeah.
Oh.
And it was just, I don't know, it's just one of those things, yeah. I was gonna go into sports medicine because after all the knee surgeries and stuff, yeah.
Wow.
So kind of took me out of that track and changed my whole life.
So what was that experience like, acting on such a major motion film?
It was pretty scary. For me, it was really scary because when they called me up and said they had the part, I said, well, I can't do that. Back then it was a $4 million picture, which means it was $2 million on my head and $2 million on her head. And I said, I don't want to carry that load. But then the casting directors called up and said, look, they wouldn't have cast you if they didn't think you could do it. And so then I was 18, and I had this talk with Mom about it. And I said, what do I do? What do you think I should do? And she was really cool about it. She said that, it's an experience. It's something you'd never have to do again. And it's something that if you really want to do it, then, give it a shot. So that was really what propelled me into saying, okay, I'll do this. Now, the next stumbling block was the nudity. There was a lot of nudity in the film, as you know. I mean, it was going to get an X rating back in the day, and it's got an R rating. Nowadays, it's tame, But so that was the other thing, and I didn't have a problem with that. I don't know. I just never had a problem with that sort of thing. So it was definitely different. It was definitely interesting at 18. But I was going to go to Denison University, and I deferred from there to go do the movie, and then when I came back, it was really weird because everybody was already gone. They were already in university, and I was all by myself, and it was like a dream. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know, did I actually make a movie or not? It was just very surreal.
So age 18, doing this film, major budget, that had to be a lot of anxiety and stress on your head, and then coming back home, and it's like you've lost your friends. How did you deal with that as a young person?
That was difficult. It was tough. We ended up on that island. It was literally a deserted island. I mean, I lived in a tent for 4.5 months. We shot that picture.
Wow.
So it was literally a deserted island. As a matter of fact, the crew found water on the island. There was no water. They were shipping it in on a barge to us, and then the crew ended up finding water. So because we were there for so long, I ended up missing that college, and that's when I deferred. But I came home and everybody was already gone. All my friends were already at college and everybody was gone. So I was literally home by myself. Wow. And it was a very strange experience because I had just done this amazing thing. I'd never acted before. I had no idea what I was doing, but obviously learned a lot. And Brooke was fantastic. She really helped tremendously. She was great. She was 14, turned 15 on the island. And Randall Kleiser, who directed the movie Grease, he was wonderful. So no movie was ever shot like that before, and no movie will ever be shot like that before. It was truly an experience. I mean, it was an incredible life experience.
Wow.
But coming home was very strange, and it takes a long time for a movie to be edited and put together. Back then, they were still doing it on film, so It wasn't digital. So it was this long period of time of just, what do I do? What just happened? Was it real? Was it not? And it was very hard coming off of that island flying into Los Angeles with all these lights and these people after being 4.5 months in a tent on an island was insane. I literally pulled the blanket up over my head because it was just overwhelming.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was tough, but then all of a sudden things started picking up a little bit. The publicity department would start calling and things like that. Columbia Pictures were starting to come into, and I thought, okay, now what's next?
So after all of this success, young age, big success, what was your experience after that?
Well, my whole world changed. The movie was the biggest hit that Columbia Pictures had of 1980. They put me on a world tour for a year and a half or something ridiculous, all over the world. They made me a star before I even got to these countries. And I had to have bodyguards. I had to have all of these people surrounding me constantly because it was literally like a Beatles thing. I would have my hair pulled and my shirt was getting ripped. I mean, it was insane. It was absolutely, a rock star type of thing.
Wow.
And that was nothing that anybody's ever really prepared for.
Yeah.
But it was over the top.
I want to talk to you more about this. We've got to take a break. And when we come back, it wasn't all fun and games for Chris. He had some pretty significant obstacles to overcome. And we'll talk about that right after this break. And welcome back. We're with legendary actor Christopher Atkins. And Chris, I've heard it said that it's always darkest just before the dawn, but you've discovered it's also the other way around as well. You've really had to overcome some obstacles and some darkness. Tell me about that.
Well, after the movie, there was a lot of turmoil as far as the Hollywood scene goes. The Hollywood scene was very crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a Golden Globe nominee. I was presenting Academy Awards. I was parties all the time.
Yeah.
Traveling the world constantly for, another movie or something.
Yeah.
And then I got married. I got married at 24. I had my child at 25, my firstborn. I got two, and my son was born. And so what was going on was alcoholism. Alcoholism got me, and it started. I don't want to get too much into how it all started and all that sort of. This is an AA meeting, but
Right.
it got me. So the Hollywood scene and everything, everywhere I would go, of course, it was alcohol, and it got to a point where I was home one Christmas with my wife and my son, and went out with my buddies. We drank up a storm, came back, had a fight with the wife. Just was ugly in my parents' house back in New York.
Yeah.
The next day, my parents called me down and they said, "Look, you're disrupting the household. We want you to leave." And it just was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and it just blew up on me. And so all of a sudden, I started laughing and crying and throwing up, and I just had a complete breakdown. And I'm just a very blessed guy with a very loving family, very close, loving family.
Yeah.
And so I went into rehab, and I got tossed into the clink for 28 days. And I came out of there realizing that I wanted to be a dad more than I wanted to be a drunk.
Wow.
And so from that moment, I am a full-on AA guy. I still do. It's 34 years sober now.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. But the point to it is that you don't have to keep going back in and out, in and out. Life can change, and there is a meaning to life, and it's really important to understand and find that meaning. And so I was very blessed and grateful for the people around me and staying sober.
I think you mentioned two things that are profound. Number one, your parents' role in coming up and shaking you out of the destructive behavior you were in. But you mentioned you wanted to be a dad more than you wanted to be a drunk. What is it about being a dad that gave you that power? Because alcohol really can get a grip on you. What was it about being a dad that really gave you that power?
It's a good question. When I was 16 teaching sailing to those little kids,
Yeah.
I would put $1 away from every paycheck for someday when I had kids.
Oh my word.
That's how bad I wanted kids. I don't know why, but I just love kids. And so I just wanted kids. And so I always said the only reason why I had kids was for my own personal entertainment. So that's why I had kids. And I just wanted to be a dad.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be there. I wanted to be able to throw a ball with him. I wanted to be all of those things. And I learned, at least in the rehab, that everything that I thought was real was not. And the only thing that I had to change was my entire life. And
That's all.
That's it. And that's what I did. So the thinking that I had, my favorite saying when I was drinking is, "You don't understand." And it came back to, when you say that there's always those three fingers pointing back at you. And it was all me. And that was the great path. But because of that, I wasn't this dad.
Yeah.
You know, you never knew who was going to come home. I was this dad, you know, just a nice dad. So I'm very happy that worked out the way that it did, because I got two great kids who are not into drugs or alcohol. I got three great, not great grandsons, but cool grandsons. I'm not that old yet.
Not that old yet. Well, what a blessing. And also, what a blessing to be able to be that grandfather figure and the father figure. There's so many young people today who don't have the role model to say it's actually stronger to not be under the mercy of a substance. And so you really have gifted the generation.
Well, the funny thing about that you're saying that is, okay, so now my kids grew up, they moved out, got divorced, 20 years, not too bad in Hollywood. So now I'm single, I'm all by myself, everybody's gone, if I start drinking, nobody will know the difference, right? So then they go and have grandkids. And I went, now I can't do it because now there's more kids. I don't want to do it in front of the grandkids, you know, so.
Well, we've got to take a break, but I want us to dig in more into how you bring balance into your life. And so when we come back, we're going to be joined with our fitness specialist guest, Marie Mitchell, who will be here to help us explore this conversation a little bit more. We'll see you soon.
The word exercise is often associated with intense workouts, like lifting weights or running. That might be intimidating to some. But for those trying to improve their health, daily physical activity can be as simple as walking or gardening. While these fun outdoor activities might be considered easy, they still expose us to vitamin D, boost mood, help promote strength, stamina, and flexibility. Exercise doesn't have to be difficult to be effective. But for it to be effective, you have to do it.
Welcome back. We're here with actor Christopher Atkins, and we're also joined with our guest key fitness specialist, activity specialist, Marie Mitchell. We're delighted to have you here as part of this conversation, especially as we shift our conversation into your activity. You've stayed really active. It's helping you look much younger than your age.
Well, gosh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So talk to us about your passion for activity. What do you do?
Well, look, they call it a circulatory system for a reason, right? It's supposed to circulate. And if you sit down and do nothing, it pools. And when it pools, nothing good happens, period.
Yeah.
So for me, I have 3 knee operations. I've got screws in my shoulder. I have plates in my back. I've got an artificial disc in my back. I got more metal in me than you can possibly imagine. And if I stop, all of that will start affecting me.
Yeah.
And the point is that, for me at least, that I truly believe if I stay active and I stay fit, the blood's going to go to the places that it's supposed to go to help heal and fix those areas. I just did a triathlon. I've never done a triathlon. I did a triathlon last weekend, and it was just one of those bucket list things. Don't know if I'll ever do another one. I probably will, but it was fun, but it's one of those challenges. And so to challenge myself, to stay active. I was always a sprinter. As you know, when I talked about baseball, that was my thing. And I played baseball in the old man league and everything else until I started ripping things in my shoulders and stuff, and I was having a tough time. My son was a very, very big baseball player. He got recruited to North Carolina from California to play D1 ball, and he was going to get drafted. Then he met a girl. But because of that, I wanted to be that dad, like I said, and I wanted to be able to throw a ball with him, and I wanted to share the passion of a sport with him and encourage him and not let him win.
Right. Now, you said before that you were interested in sports medicine before you became an actor.
Yes.
Does that have anything to do with your activity and just perspective on just staying healthy and fit now?
Absolutely. My sister's a PhD in cellular biology at Yale University. My brother's an emergency room doctor in New Zealand and Wellington.
So it runs in the family.
So it runs in the family. So I was going to go into sports medicine, and the reason why was because we all had doctors in the family.
Right.
But I did a paper for high school in my senior year, my senior paper, and I went into New York to the athletic club there with a fellow doctor, and we did my research paper on people who needed dialysis and exercise. And they found that by more exercise created less dialysis time. So it was very fascinating about exercise, and even when my wife was pregnant, I was fascinated with exercise and pregnancy, and I was putting together a video at the time that didn't ever get off the ground, unfortunately, on pregnancy, and I had the doctors all involved and everything on exercise and pregnancy, and they were showing that a lot of women who would have babies that were very, very fit tended to have smaller babies, 5-pound babies. Right. But there was nothing wrong with that, because it seemed that the rule is 7 pounds or so, that kind of a thing. Oh, it's too small, but it turned out that wasn't the case.
Wow. Now you have a lot of injuries, but yet something I'm so impressed with you is you've never let those injuries be an excuse to keep you from exercising. How is it that you've continued exercising despite the fact that, I imagine it hurts. You have some pains.
Yeah.
And we all.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier that I had these shoulder problems. They got frozen or whatever. I couldn't lift them over my head. This was just a year ago.
Oh.
And it was bad. And I thought I needed surgery, and I thought I was going to have to go through all of that again. Yeah. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go into the gym, and I'm just going to see if I can free them up. I didn't know they were actually frozen shoulders until I realized that was a thing. So I did, and I went into the gym, and I cried a lot, but I went in and I really worked these shoulders out, and it took a little bit of time, but I got full range in my shoulders again. Wow. So
that's fantastic.
It is, and it just showed me that sometimes you have to push through things to get to the other side, and you don't have to push it to break it, but to just push. So that was one of the things that was important.
Most people would use pain as an excuse. Well, I guess I'm not made to work out. I guess I'm disabled now. But Marie, what are you finding? Because you're really into fitness. You're faithful about it. I'm sure there's a lot of nagging excuses, even in the back of your mind, that I can't do it.
Tired.
Yeah, too tired, too busy. It's the weather's not right. What are some things that help you and the people that you work with to get over the excuses of not staying active?
I think of fitness as longevity. The one thing that we do have any little control over is our fitness health, right? And I want to have my fitness health to be the greatest level so I can see my children and my children's children. So if I have any kind of motivation when I wake up in the morning, that's what it is. I want to put an example for my children. I want to live long enough to see them grow up, their children grow up. So that is my motivation. Is that the same for you? You're now a grandfather.
Yeah, now I'm a grandpa.
Yeah.
My motivation is just getting out of bed in the morning. So with all the aches and the pains, I mean, I hurt all the time and everything, but the point is a lot of it's here. So for instance, if you talk to major athletes, it's dealing with this to get past that exhaustion, that place. And so that's where it has to really start first, I believe. And so, for instance, I was always a sprinter, I was saying, and now I've gotten into just running. I push myself to do those changeovers. I'm not sprinting anymore, but I want to stay active. I need that going through me.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. We've loved our conversation with you. I wish we could go on, but we're out of time.
No!
Yes, we're out of time. But when we come back from this break, I have a few words that I'd like to share with the audience. We'll see you then. Life can get pretty dark and painful at times, but let me encourage you. If you plug in key number 3 and utilize activity in your life plan, it will not only help your body adjust to all the growing aches and pains, but activity will also help you overcome the darkness of addictions and depression. Increase your activity level today and watch what happens.
For more meaningful life tips and an opportunity to view this show and all other episodes, visit our website at lifestyle.org. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to continuing this journey with you on future episodes of Lifestyle Magazine.